We're going to let's share screen. Right, and pull the pathway. Okay, great, perfect. Yeah, you can just click this, or yeah, you can do that. Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read that.
Okay, yeah, you just press this button.
In there. Okay.
To go back and forth.
Okay. In the event that you can't hear me, just raise your hand and then I'll know that I need to speak louder. You need that? Um, if you find a chair would be more comfortable, don't hesitate to move to that. You know, if you find that you're all right. So today's talk is taming the neurotic mind. Can I move this? So in taming the neurotic mind, we need to know what is mind. What are we talking about? What is the ground of mind? So the ground of mind, what is it? It's personal experience, obstacles, seductions, paranoia, depressions, openness. There is no environment other than your thoughts. Think about that. There's no environment other than your thoughts. They color everything. In our practice of meditation, our problems are our only working basis. Without problems, we have no working basis. We have no path, no journey. So the theory, and people think, oh, well, I'm going to take up meditation. It's going to make me calm and peaceful. Yes. And it's also going to allow you to work with and to discover the truth about your emotions, how you function, what your mind is all about. And it's going to give you some control. So we need to talk about a few terms just so that when we talk about these terms, you know where we're coming from. So we need to talk about ego and egolessness. Ego is the name for all these ideas, images, and feelings that we have about who we are or want to be. Learning to be brave and completely genuine. You can be spontaneously open and present. Egolessness is the experience of experiencing our life without the reference points of ego. It is completely genuine, who you are and in the now. Now, experiencing our life without the reference points of ego. So you may wonder, well, what are the reference points of ego? Any ideas? Judging your thoughts against the ego of the other person. Well, you could look at it like that. Yeah. Ego usually is when you are coming from the reference points of ego, you're coming from the identity that you have created for yourself. And it's based on selfishness. You have a goal, you have a strategy, you have something in mind. And so when you're, instead of thinking of the whole situation and the people that you're dealing with, thank you. You're coming from the reference points of, I want this. Now, if I do this, I have this strategy, I'm going to get that. That's what I want. That's the strategy of ego. So it doesn't have anything to do with looking at the whole situation. What could be of the most benefit to everyone that is there in that moment? What is the skillful action that I can employ that's going to bring happiness, no suffering to the situation that I am now in? Ego does not think about that. We could have a whole class or talk just on the development of ego, how it comes about, why it comes from that particular point of view, where is the confusion. So basically, when you're talking about meditation and the skill of meditation, what it is allowing you to see exactly where your motivation, where these thoughts are coming from. Do you have to pay attention to them? Are you controlled by them? Do you have any power at all? Or is it all based on your habits and your patterns? Are you on automatic transmission or are you on manual transmission? We're going to find out. So the creation of the cocoon. So what ego does is it wraps you up in habitual patterns. So the cocoon is an analogy of our own creation made out of our own responses to fear. It is the perpetuation of habitual patterns. We avoid the rawness of our experience because we are afraid. Fear is the first glimpse, and cowardice becomes our habitual pattern. When I'm talking about fear, I'm not talking about, oh, I'm terrified, something's going to happen to me. Fear is not wanting to be irritated, not wanting to be anxious, wanting everything to be smooth so you don't have to do anything. And we create our patterns that way. to avoid those particular situations. So that's the fear that we're talking about here. Behavior patterns. When the space is not free flowing, but frozen with solid reference points, there is no exchange of communication. What happens at this point is the formation of behavior patterns, the creation of our comfort zones. If you have communication, but you want to make sure that you get your point across. So you've frozen the space. It's not open anymore. You have an agenda. You want it to come out like this. That's when you freeze the space. Especially if you've created something and you think it's just fantastic and someone comes in and says, oh, well, maybe this could be better if you did that. And immediately, if you're not open and looking at where they're coming from, you immediately don't pay any attention to that. You ignore it. Behavior patterns are formed when we want pleasurable experiences, when we avoid painful, irritating situations, when we become neutral to situations or things and do not pay attention. Example, you are an automatic as opposed to manual. Someone says, oh, we're going to go and do this. And you already have said, no, I don't do that. Closed. No openness. You're on automatic. You've already decided for yourself. This is what I do. I don't like vanilla ice cream. I only like chocolate. Someone offers you vanilla ice cream. No, no, I don't touch vanilla ice cream. Chocolate is the ice cream that I, so it's set. So we see only our own solid version of the world. Perception is very much individualized, centralized on self-consciousness. You are taking everything personally. Ego is being affected. Oh, she didn't even say hello to me. How come? What's her problem? So immediately, if things don't go the way that you want them to go, then it's like you take it personally. Maybe she's not well. Maybe she doesn't remember. Who knows? There are many, many. And even if she did, where's your confidence? Where's your confidence? Are you affected by what everybody think about you? You're in big trouble if you do, because everybody has a different opinion. You'll have to be changing all the time. Where's the genuineness? Where are you in that whole thing? Where are you really? Thought process and emotions are transparent and taking place in the midst of space. This is the positive space of skillful means, working with everyday life situations. It can only be seen through the experiencing of the space rather than the product by becoming one with the emotions. I've used this before, and it's such an important point that this is the space we're all in right now. This is it. Quiet. Now, if I get angry, I lose my sense of the space. I'm so angry. Da, 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 da. You lose, you don't care. You're not there. You're in your mind with thoughts. That applies to anger, desire, ignorance. Just close it off. You don't see it anymore. You get a taste of that in your meditation when you start to think and your thoughts carry you away somewhere. You're no longer here in this space. You're with your thoughts somewhere else, thinking about that. Oh, what am I going to wear tonight? So it's really important. And basically, that is enlightenment. I know that sounds kind of strange, but enlightenment is where you are in the space. And although you have thoughts that arise, they don't, you see them, you recognize them. And as more you meditate, the more transparent those thoughts become. Now you have a choice. Now you're working towards freedom. You're no longer governed by the thought. The thought isn't capturing you and taking you away somewhere. You are right here right now. The thought arises, but there's enough. And that's what your meditation practice is supposed to do. It brings you the stability of mind to allow you to be in the present moment, right here, right now. This arises. Now you have a choice about skillful means because you're not governed by the anger or the desire or the greed or the jealousy. You're in the open space. Your mind is here. You can see that thought and it just goes. You just right here. The thought arises, just like in your meditation practice, dissolves and goes away. So the more transparent you can make your thoughts, and you can't do that, of course, the practice is what does it for you. Because if you're doing it, we have ego reinforced. And that's what you have to be careful of. Oh, I had such a great meditation practice. I was able to just da 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 da. Really, I had me, I and me. Whenever you start coming from I and me, you need to look at that. That's reinforcing the ego, the duality of I and other. There's not a total openness there of the space so that you can recognize what's really going on. Genuineness takes bravery. Genuineness is the act of experiencing yourself as you are. It requires honesty and openness. It also challenges one to be skillful in communication, to express oneself with honesty, gentleness, and compassion in order to meet each situation with appropriateness and sensitivity. You find out right away if you say, "Oh, I'm set my mind. I'm going to be completely genuine. I'm going to respond honestly to things that arise in my space." And then you see someone, this is an extreme example, of course, you see your boss, and you want him to think well of you. And so right away, you're going to try to do whatever you think is going to make that person happy. Is it genuine? Well, maybe. Is it deliberate? Would you have done something else if, like, for instance, politics is a perfect example. You're with a group of people and they're of the opposite party that you belong to or that you have an interest in. So, how genuine you're going to be, how skillful you're going to be. That right away, your fear rises. Oh, I don't want them to think this. Oh, I don't want that. So immediately you're intimidated. Genuineness. So it's being skillful in how you can be who you are and be honest about that. And at the same time, skillful. The process, our journey. So we have done classes before or teachings on the art of being human. And that really is the first step. Meditation gives you your first taste of meditation. It's your first, the process of taming begins by making yourself available to be tamed, available to stop creating ego-centered notions. If you don't want to do that, then nothing's going to happen. Nothing. You're just going and wasting time. So it has to begin with you being willing to find out, what is this all about? What's going on here? Is this valuable? Is this important to me? Meditation provides an opportunity to experience a glimpse of our basic goodness. And that experience allows us to appreciate an alternative to being involved with habitual patterns, to undo neurotic patterns of behavior. Once through your meditation, you have a glimpse of just that moment when you are there, sitting there in the midst of space, just being there, just being. That is your basic goodness. When you can get a glimpse of that sense of relaxation, that out breath going out, and you are there, just there. Nothing else is going on. Just that openness. That's a glimpse of your basic goodness. That's where we're moving towards with meditation. The opportunity to experience that goodness, that basic space without intimidation, without it, just who you are right there, right now. Birth of the warrior. So first you have the glimpse, the meditation practice. You have a glimpse. That openness, also another perhaps thing that I could give you that might help you identify what that is. But this is something that I can only point to in the Tibetan tradition. They talk about the grandmother's finger pointing. Because it's something that you have to experience for yourself. It's not something that you can conceptualize. It's something that you must realize for yourself. You must experience it for yourself. I can only say, do this, do this, do this, and then maybe you can connect with that and you can get that experience. So now that you have that experience, that openness, that sense, if you're climbing up a mountain, right, and you get to the top and you look out and you see, it's like that first, you pick your head up and it's like vast. That moment before the thoughts come rolling back in, oh, isn't that great? Look at that. My goodness, I can see da 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 da. That first moment of openness, of having it hit you. It's the same thing if you're cooking and you say to someone, come and taste and see if this is too salty. And they come over and they take a spoon of that soup. That first hit tells them, oh, it's too salty. Oh, it's not salty enough. That first moment of experience is what, that's the state that we're talking about. That's your basic goodness. That's your primal purity. That's the essence, the energy that we are. And it's with the confusion of the ego that clouds it over when you have that duality of back and forth and separation, not the complete openness. That's when it gets confused. So the experience or the birth of the warrior is experiencing a glimpse of basic goodness. We are willing to look into our cocoon of habitual patterns, of repetitive thoughts, emotions, bodily postures, and gestures. And when certain situations arise, we do it all the time. And you can catch it when you're doing your meditation. You'll find that if you're thinking a particular thought, your body takes that position. Every time you have that thought, your body goes into that position. So it's not just what you're thinking, it's in the gestures, it's in your emotions, it's in your movements. We see how cocoon arises as a way of avoiding any direct experience of fear and sadness. That's how they're made. That's how they come into existence. We're avoiding that. We see how the cocoon arises as a way of avoiding any direct experience of fear and sadness, not turning away from these habitual patterns of the cocoon is fearlessness. The repeated practice of fearlessness brings doubtlessness, the realization that our connection with our basic goodness cannot be destroyed. When you think about it, that experience that you have on the spot when you're surprised, that moment of openness, that you cannot destroy. That's your being, that's your energy, that's who you are. So it's a matter of respecting that, abiding in that, allowing that to be your reality for everything that arises within that space. So we want to talk about meditation practice. So mindfulness practice is a way of returning to the simplicity of the breath, to the present moment of now, to experiencing our genuineness. So meditation practice, that is the value of it. You're training yourself to remain on the spot, to have the most skillful action because you're not caught up in the emotion of whatever it is. You can see clearly. You have a chance now. You're freeing yourself from your cocoon, from your habitual patterns. Here now is the only way we can actually experience our lives fully, grow and develop, and become warriors by holding our spot of discomfort, insecurity, whatever, and begin to relate directly with our energy, our lives. Otherwise, we spend our lives fleeing, pretending, ignoring. We cheat ourselves from living fully. You cannot relive the moment. It is in the past. But you can live this moment and be in the now, on the spot. Whoops, it's gone. And it's gone. That's it, it's over. So now the next moment is here. You cannot relive the moment. Oop, we've done that. Oops. We begin to develop allegiance to our basic goodness, to the fullness of our life's experience, feeling the texture and space of our existence. In meditation, you are neither for or against your experience. Don't praise some thoughts and condemn others. It's an unbiased approach. Thoughts are thoughts. There's no good thoughts. There's no bad thoughts. They're all thoughts. And that's how you have to relate to them. You express your existence directly, non-conceptually, not for or against me. Echo, coming back to reality. We experience the echo in meditation practice when you discover that you're not with your practice, that you're away, drifting away in thoughts. And you say, oh, thinking, back to the breath. That's the echo. When you come back to the reality, in the process of losing awareness, you regain it because of the process of losing it. Slipping in itself corrects itself. And the more you discipline yourself and make the commitment to come back to your breath, that's one of the few commitments that you have in meditation practice. When you find you are carried away in thoughts, thinking, come back to the breath. Come back to the present moment. Whenever you're lost in thought, come back to the present moment. That's your practice, 24/7. Gaps occur in your mind. You can plant mindfulness awareness whenever there is a gap. At that moment, the point is to be fully mindful. Look at yourself. You don't need a technique. Just be present. Be mindful. Just be there. If you cannot just be there, you can follow your breath in order to be there, which is a gentle way of doing so. So if you say, oh, technique, oh, I can't do it, go back to the breath. Even if you're washing your dishes, come back to the breath. That's one easy way to come back to the present moment. So this is, I've already introduced this, but I'm going to introduce it again because it shows you there is a way to work with your emotions as a path of awakening. And so this is the instruction. These are the instructions for that. Bring attention. So now you're all upset. Bring attention to where you are right now. Stay with the energy without acting out or repressing. You're with the energy. You're feeling it. It's not out here. You're not acting. It's within you. You feel that emotion. You can feel it. You see somebody in the distance coming towards you that you really just had a fight with. And so you can feel maybe the anger building up. Feel the emotion. Be there with it. Look at it. That automatically creates a separation between you and that energy because now you're looking at it. You're not totally consumed and being carried away with it. Now there's a space where you're actually, what's happening here? Why am I feeling that way? What is going on? Important to have an attitude of curiosity and openness rather than judgment. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling that way. Da, 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 da. No, 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 no. Curiosity. Why is this happening? Why do I feel like this? What is going on? Don't push too hard. Where are you right now? Be kind. Let emotions be and connect with what they feel like. Emotions as a path of awakening is based on simply letting the emotion be just as it is. Don't suppress or be carried away. Relate to their basic substance. Seeing emotions as they are is the practice of shunyata or emptiness. Emotions are seen through. This is the ultimate practice of nonviolence. No good, no bad, just what it is. Be willing to feel some discomfort. This is from Sokni Rinpoche, who has a whole teaching. He's based his whole instruction to Westerners and I guess to the home people in Tibet as well, where he basically says, he's an amazing teacher. Be willing to feel some discomfort. You can't take this path or this journey without doing that. Otherwise, nothing changes. Everything stays exactly as it is. So now we talked about the warrior's path. Discipline of fearlessness is recognizing fear when it arises and not turning away from it. You are looking into your state of mind. You're looking at your state of mind, fear. You could be trembling on the spot, completely freaked out. Hold your spot. Be there. Learn to recognize. Oh, we face forward, going into and through the fear, giving birth to warriorship. Learn to recognize first thought or direct experience itself, and second thought, the conceptual elaboration on the direct experience. You can go back to that ice cream cone. Oh, what flavor is this? Oh, I'm not sure. Let me see. So that's the first thing. The first thought or the first experience is the actual taste. And then comes the commentary. Oh, I really like this. Oh, no, is this almond or is this vanilla? I'm not sure. Right. So then comes the elaboration afterwards. But the first, go with your senses. The first hit that you get, that's complete openness. You're there. Is this too hot or is it too cold? You're taking a shower. Is the water too hot or too cold? You put it in. First experience. Then you label it. Oh, it's too hot or too cold, whatever. Your life is the practice of meditation. Simplify everything down to the immediate present practice of what one is doing without expectations, without judgments, and without opinions. There is no concept of being involved in a battle of evil or on the side of good. One is fully with the present moment. Discipline. When you have developed renunciation and become willing to restrain yourself from unwholesome actions, you begin to develop discipline. Discipline is not ethics. It does not have to do with common law, but with individual salvation. You are freeing yourself from your neurotic patterns. It's salvation, individual salvation. You can't do it without discipline. Discipline is based on basic accommodation and fundamental sanity. As discipline becomes a reality, it actually abides as an entity in your state of mind. You don't even have to think about being disciplined. It just arises and you, no, I'm sorry, don't do that, or I don't want that, or let's do this. Discipline develops because you are willing to be good in the sense of being pragmatic, precise, and realistic. Fear and fearlessness. Fearlessness is not jumping off a cliff. Fearlessness, well, Lexi would know about jumping off things, right? She does a lot of jumping off things, flying around, and she gives her mother heart failure half the time when she doesn't. Better not to tell her what you're doing. Okay, fearlessness is in conjunction with accuracy and knowing the process of how to respond to the phenomenal world by means of our sense perceptions, our mind, and our GES, which means Great Eastern Sun, which is very common word in the Shambhala tradition. And basically, you have your perceptions, right, which tell you what you're going to do and the skillfulness, your mind, which is directing things. We could go back to the ego and the different stages, and we get to the five feeling, tastings, and then the sixth one is the technician who coordinates all of those activities so that you can taste your ice cream and you can smell your ice cream and you can feel the texture of your ice cream and da 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 da. So the sixth one is the one that coordinates all of that. So you can do all of those things at one time. And then the consciousness, the seventh one, the seventh consciousness, basically kind of goes away once you become enlightened because it's called cloudy mind. And then the eighth one is your Alaya Vijnana, which is the storehouse for all of your knowledge, for all the things that you have experienced. So when you see red, you associate that with based on all the experiences that you've had with red, da da da. And then when your thoughts are out there just going around, whatever you see triggers this thought, which triggers that thought, which triggers another thought, and you just go round and round and round forever based on all the images that you have stored in your Alaya Vijnana. So Great Eastern Sun, then now you've got your experiences, you've got your mind, and GES, Great Eastern Sun, is the aspect of decorum, the aspect of conduct. That is the precision that you bring to your life, how you decorate your house, how you create the manifestation of your sense of elegance or whatever, so that there's respect, there's accountability in a sense. There's a way that people can, oh, you've done such a great job in how you decorated it, your house. It just invites people in or whatever. So the Great Eastern Sun aspect is that sense of brilliance, elegance that you bring into your life because of your sense perceptions and your mind, how to live your life. We make a commitment to ourselves to hold our spot, if possible, and face our fear. What happens from there is dependent on how skillful we have learned to be. Attempting to be genuine is enough to show us our fear. You just try to say, okay, today I'm going to be genuine all day. Anything that happens, this is my slogan for the day, my thought for the day. I'm going to be completely genuine. And wait and see till the first situation arises where you feel like you have to kind of hedge a little bit on being genuine because of the circumstances that you're in. So there's where you learn all about your fear, so to speak. Embracing the fear, not the cowardice, allows the breakthrough from the cocoon. You will never be able to get out of that cocoon unless you deal with your fearlessness, your bravery, your confidence. Doubtlessness arises from seeing that we can stay with our fear without being overwhelmed. When we stay with the experience of fear, we experience basic goodness, Buddha nature, primal purity. So many words for that. Each tradition has their own special words. The heart is completely open and exposed. When you are afraid, when you're caught in something, you're completely naked. You are out there, very close to something coming in. You're right there. So now we're going to talk about the neurotic mind, taming the neurotic mind. So there are 4 mental obstacles: stupidity, mindlessness, emotional upheavals, and lack of faith. Simplicity is a state of mind that is not open or informed. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Big one. Stupidity is a state of mind that is not open or informed. It is a state of mind that is uneducated. You might say if you are uneducated, it's not your fault. What is meant by being educated, informed, or learned is being inquisitive enough to learn the rules and regulation. In general, you should have inquisitiveness about what you are doing rather than just sitting back and being lazy. Inquisitiveness needs openness and the willingness to look into situations and understand them. The obstacle of stupidity means that you have not been inquisitive enough to learn. Mindlessness, the absence of awareness. You are unaware of yourself. Things come up and things go away, but you just ignore them. You couldn't be bothered. In contrast, awareness is based on curiosity and inquisitiveness. Awareness is fundamentally a natural instinct. We are always aware, always inquisitive. Human beings manage to push irritating things away. In doing so, they lose their natural awareness. Cultivating awareness means regaining that instinct of inquisitiveness and sharpness. You find that a lot when you're working with young children. They're always curious. Oh, what is that? Oh, they're always open to different things. What's happening? What's going on? Right? It's when we don't want to know. Oh, I didn't see that. You know, ignorance is very intelligent. You know exactly what you have to do to avoid doing what it is that you don't want to do. You develop that right away. Emotional upheavals. People usually want to be somebody or achieve something important. Therefore, they express themselves in terms of the three poisons, passion, aggression, and ignorance, or in terms of jealousy, envy, or some other emotional response. Uptightness comes from wanting to stick to our own identity and to our own importance. Trying to hold on to our identity by means of emotional uptightness is unnecessary and creates further pain. The point is not necessarily to control your emotions or to try to be good at the same time. There is the possibility that you could be watchful of yourself and your state of mind. This is very important because when you begin to see your areas of neurosis, it's like, it's not about, oh, bad, you're such a bad person, you know. It has to do with recognizing it, learning to recognize, see it for what it is. Then maybe you can do something about it. So it's more a question of being watchful about what's actually going on, being inquisitive. Well, why am I doing this? What is actually going on here? Why am I feeling that way? Lack of faith. Maybe I should put my glasses on here. Okay. Hmm? No, I'm just gonna put it out. Lack of faith. Not having faith that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve. The Buddhist view of faith is that you should think for yourself. Faith means that you can do it. You don't need too much help. You can do it yourself. It's not based on any kind of reward. Instead, faith is knowing that this is the right path. It is based on actual experience. That makes all the difference. You know, if this is the right path, you're not looking for the reward. This is what needs to happen. This is what needs to be done. It's not faith in something. It's faith in yourself, basically. The role of meditation is to witness your stupidity. You're aware of your unawareness, your emotional appeals, and your faithlessness. By doing so, you are taming your mind. The term taming does not mean that you are trying to work with your mind so that everything is smooth and good. Taming means that you feel that there is a relationship taking place between you and your mind. You know, it grows. It's not going to happen overnight, but you're developing this relationship with your mind. You're starting to you're starting to see what's actually going on. And that's where the taming comes in. It's not that, you have a ways, we all have a ways to go. That doesn't happen like on the spot tomorrow. It happens gradually as you learn more and more about yourself and your actions and what you do and why you do them. That's where faith comes from. When you sit and meditate, you do not necessarily become a good meditator sitting for an hour or a day without any thoughts. You don't necessarily find yourself completely smooth. That is almost impossible, and that is not the point. Taming the mind means that some kind of friendship is taking place between you and those four obstacles. You discovered that your mind is workable. Meditation is actually happening. A very powerful sense of conviction develops and begins to grow. A basic point of any training is the conviction that you can practice along with your problems. Meditation is very important. You cannot keep basic discipline without the practice of meditation. The process of meditation brings out the details of the four mental obstacles and brings out their positive counterparts as well. And so it's not, oh, good person, oh, bad, oh, I did this, I sat all day, I did a 30-day tune, it's not good, bad. It's finding out what's going on and then being with that and watching it to the point where it no longer happens. That pattern is gone. You need to develop a new pattern. And that's what this is all about. That's what meditation is all about. 7 characteristics of a dharmic person. This is someone who's been practicing for a while. Passionlessness. Instead of trying to create an overly comfortable situation for yourself, you reduce that desire. Contentment. You appreciate what you have and rejoice in it. Fewer activities. You are reducing unnecessary activities, reducing non-functional talking and entertainment mentally. Good conduct. When you are always awake and aware of what you are doing, that is good conduct. Awareness of the teacher. You have a sense of sacredness in studying and listening to the teacher. At the same time, you appreciate that you too are part of the same tradition and discipline. Propagating prajna intellect. You should understand that you are what you are made of. Also, what the mind is made out of and its projections, and what your relationship with the world is made out of. Your projections color everything that you do. Any projection that you have about a person, a situation, or whatever colors your actions with respect to that. It's an overlay. That's why the space is so important. Because when you're in the space, it's a thought that arises. It's not, you see the projection for what it is and you're open. Oh, well, I haven't heard your opinion. What do you think about this? Because other perspectives help you to open up your space. An attitude of goodness. You appreciate a sense of your own basic goodness and recognize that fundamental quality in everyone. That's really important because, well, we won't go into that. That's a whole other thing. I was going to give you the 48 reasons why of bad actions of a bodhisattva, but we won't go into all of that today. That's another class that we'll have to do. Post-meditation. So now you're up off your cushion. Now you're in the world. You're in your daily life. And so I've also pointed this out before. In post-meditation, the 7 points of mind training referred to as Lojong is practiced and studied, as well as Shantideva's Bodhisattva Bacharya Vatara and other texts. This is the Bodhisattva Mahasattva path and follows the 6 paramitas path to enlightenment. Basically, it begins with slogans, antidotes, which begin to restrain and undo habitual patterns. One learns to hold in space. You have little index cards and you have a little slogan on it for each day. Every day you put a new card up and what it is. Things like um, change your attitude and relax as it is. When you're driving, that's a great one for when you're driving and you're in a traffic jam. You can't move, you have no choice. You have to be where you are. And so you're, oh, how does they go? I'm only going 15 miles an hour. Da, 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 change your attitude. What can you do? Nothing. Relax as it is. So when you're in a situation where you have no control whatsoever, change your attitude. Relax as it is. We wouldn't have road rage drivers if that were the case, if everybody did that. These slogans also with these little cards, and I can bring those or give them to you or something if you request them. They're good to have because what they do is if you have a habit of something that you need to tame and you have this slogan for the day, then when you go about your business, you'll find that that situation may arise, or if not that day, on another day, but you understand what it is. This is the behavior changes that you must have to change the attitude of mind that you have about situations and people. And it comes from, notice, the bodhisattva. The bodhisattva is someone who has taken not just refuge vows where they're going to work on their own neuroses. That's refuge vow. So I'm going to work on myself, clear myself all out. Bodhisattva now, my life is now dedicated to others, to creating peace or harmony or whatever. And boy, do we need that in our society today. And so by doing this, these cards actually you begin to change your behavior from these neurotic aspects to the positive aspects just by learning what they are. And that's as it says here, one learns to hold in space. So something happens, and instead of you automatically with the action coming out, you hold in space just for a second. Now you can proceed because now you have an opportunity to change the neurotic behavior into something positive that's going to benefit. Zongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, wonderful teacher. In speaking of the 7 points of mind training, whatever is in your mind right now, just be aware. Don't judge, prolong, or get entangled. Don't feed the thoughts. You deprive your stories and entanglements. Mind is trainable. Notice what is in your mind as often as possible, short time, 2 to 3 minutes, anywhere, anytime. And when you do that, you will find that your whole life changes. It's just, and here's a way with you're not on your cushion every day for an hour a day, or I think it's recommended at least 3 times a week for an hour. Here's something that you can do washing your dishes or whatever. Every time you have a gap in your mind, every time there's that little openness where you're not involved with your thoughts, when you're in the present moment, watch your mind. What am I thinking? What's going on? Just immediately you have separated yourself from the neurotic aspect of mind or from the thought quality of mind to the more observable basic goodness, primal purity aspect of your essence of what you are. Complete openness. Initial stages are unpleasant and fear inspiring. Open completely to the pain or fear and welcome it. In this way, the barriers created by one's own habitual emotional reactions and prejudices are broken down. Hold your spot. Don't run away. Trungpa Rinpoche said that, oh, I don't know how many times. I remember, don't run away. And that when one of his last words, actually, when he was alive, was, whatever arises, don't run away. Be with it. Face it. Even if you do nothing, just don't run away. Meditation is a natural function of everyday life. To meditate is to pass beyond effort, aims, and goals. When performing meditation practice, one should think of it as just a natural function of everyday life, like eating and breathing, not as a special formal event to be undertaken with great solemnity and seriousness. Oh, I sit every day, at least an hour and a half. Every day I sit. Mm-hmm. Who is sitting? Your ego is sitting. Oh, look at how good I am. Perfect, perfect posture. Feeding ego. The more you feed the ego, the more control there are meditators who meditate and do amazing things, and it's all, they go into samadhi. Maybe they're there for, I don't know, a month or something. That's what I did. Right. So next one, fruition. Because we create the cocoon, we can uncreate it. Challenges are the working basis. There is growing appreciation that difficulties are not fundamental obstacles to experiencing our basic goodness, our Buddha nature, our primal purity, our bodhicitta. All of those words signify the same thing, your basic energy. Discovering the freshness of our experiences is the first opening of the cocoon. In other words, when you finally start to do this practice of facing your fear and undoing those neurotic patterns, it's like, oh, your whole life, so many more possibilities can enter in. And then we can go back to the Great Eastern Sun where there's a propriety of what you choose to step into and what you choose not to step into. But it's very clear for you. And it's not a battle. It's confidence. You know. Sharpening our awareness, we see the contrast of cocoon and direct sense perceptions and give birth to warriorship. When the secular becomes sacred, we begin to discover the true war. That's when this is part of your being now. Every moment, every experience that you have is with precision, elegance. It's like your whole world changes you could be looking at a movie, where my daughter likes to watch these Chinese movies, where the costumes are so beautiful and everything is so elegant and flowing, and the king and the queen, But it's like when we did our walking meditation, right? Every step, either you did it and all of your balance was there or it wasn't. But when you come back and bring body, speech, and mind together, always body, speech, and mind together, synchronization of that, then everything you do in your life, how you eat your food, how you put down your cup, what your bedroom looks like, what your living room, what does your kitchen look? Is it messy with all cups and glasses and plates? And so it's like all of a sudden, every moment, we can only be right here, right now, in this moment. That's it. Everything else, future's not here. Past is gone. We can't relive it. All we have is this very moment. And you want to make that moment as precious as possible. Your full attention, your full awareness is here now. How you walk, how you move, what you do. So when you discover the secular, then you really know what's going on. Then it's not just, oh, well, I'm going to do this now for this period of time. Then I'm going to take a vacation. There's no vacation. Even if you want to take a vacation, you're still aware, oh, I'm just sleeping all day and watching Netflix. Okay. When faced with fear, we go in and out of fear. We can do it. Freedom and fearlessness are the result. This is the imperial attitude. That's why we have those two warriors on either side of the Shambhala shrine. That's going along with the imperial attitude. When you have no doubt, you do not rely on or are dependent on feedback, encouragement, or discouragement. If you know something, you don't have to ask someone. You know. You know whether you can swim or not, because if somebody throws you in the deep end of the pool, you can either swim away or we can run in and grab you and try to save you, right? So it's not. You have no doubt. You know your wisdom is there. You also have no need to display your valor to others. Lonely journey. I hate to even bring that up because loneliness is a big part of everybody's thing. Nobody wants to be lonely. Loneliness here is the starvation of ego. It is very personal and individual journey. Avoiding pain and loneliness is a problem. Experiences of uncertainty, discontentment of all kinds are necessary. Whenever there is uncertainty and threat, there is loneliness, which is the fear of no companionship and fear that nobody understands you. Ultimately, the loneliness principle becomes aloneness, which brings a sense of space. Without samsaric experience, we are unable to reach this level of working towards freedom. Basic point of Tantra is interest and awareness in every activity throughout our lives at every moment. Unless you have a sense of aloneness, you cannot develop wakefulness. So it is absolutely and utterly important and necessary to feel lonely. You are conceived alone. You come out of your mother's womb alone. Your umbilical cord is cut. You are alone in the world. 6 categories of aloneness. Less desire. And this is because you're taking responsibility for yourself. You're not having people save you. You don't have to wait for someone to do it for you. Unless it's me, of course, and I can't carry the big pot that's there. I have to have somebody help me carry it because I just can't lift it anymore. But so you have less desire. You have less need for security because you're depending on yourself, on your own confidence to do it. Like the grandmother pointing, I can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. I can only point, say, look over here, look at this, look at that. What do you think? That's all I can do. Contentment. You are not always looking for something more. Avoiding unnecessary activities. You are not trying to occupy yourself or look for companionship. Morality. You keep being brought back to your practice of meditation, not wandering in the world of desire. You do not constantly search for relationships, working with discursive thought, recognizing thoughts and allowing them to dissolve. You are relating to them very simply. The individual journey of warriorship must be taken before we can address the larger issue of how to help this world. Good behavior is to communicate our respect for others and develop self-control so we can extend ourselves to others. Gentle speech expresses our dignity. Gentle and tamed human beings who can make a genuine contribution to the world is the goal. This is something that when I first read it, I thought, oh, this really is, I was going to do it the last time I did the teaching and I didn't do it. But it explains so precisely. When we're talking about Dzogchen, Dzogchen is the highest Tantra. Another name for Dzogchen is Ati. The Nyingma tradition, that's their head, Ati, Dzogchen. The Kagyu tradition is Mahamudra. But Mahamudra and Ati have the same outcome. Different, they're not that different. Mahamudra is more romantic in how it presents itself. Dzogchen is very cut, very Vajra, this is it. Stop, stop, stop. So James Lowe, and to be honest with you, I don't know who he is. I just read it and felt it was just so well read. Dzogchen, often described as the path of great perfection, invites us into a radical acceptance of life as it is, proposing a seamless unity of all experiences, akin to points on a circle with no division. This perspective challenges the traditional spiritual notion of inherent flaw, suggesting instead that striving for improvement often complicates our journey. Good boy, bad boy. That it just messes it all up. It gives you a whole other idea. You have to be really careful when you start noting, oh, I did that really well. That I did that really well is the ego. And anything that strengthens that point of view is a problem, a big problem. It teaches us to simply be, revealing that our reality is not fixed, but constantly shaped by our interactions. This practice emphasizes the importance of being present and aware, encouraging us to see beyond our transient thoughts and feelings to the deeper currents of existence. It asks us to become observers of our ever-changing inner world, to question the solidity of our identities, and to engage with life from a place of openness and curiosity. And so that is the last of our slides here. Are there any questions? No? Either you didn't understand anything or you understood everything perfectly. No questions. Okay, we'll just let it be at that then. Thank you very much. Thank you. We should do a wait a minute dedication. Uh, and we'll do the tea. We can do the tea offering at the same time. So we'll do the tea offering first, and then we'll do the dedication. Right? Um, Assemblies of Ocean of Samaya bound, accept this offering, gift of Torma. May we yogins with our disciples obtain lordship, freedom from disease, long life, glory, fame, good fortune, and all great and vast enjoyments. Grant us the cities of the pacifying and enriching actions, and so on. Samaya holders, guard us, support us with all the cities. May there be no untimely death, illness, doons, or obstructing spirits for us. May there be no nightmares, ill omens, or bad dealings. May the world enjoy peace, have good harvest, abundant grain, expansion of Dharma, glorious auspiciousness, accomplish whatever mind desires. By this merit may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. You want to empty it. By this merit may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara. May I free all beings. Thank you. Okay. Well, we could invite you to help yourself to the food and fruit and so forth that we have here. Lexi, what do I do with all of this?